In 2007, a private tape leaked onto the internet, and within days, the name Kim Kardashian was everywhere. It was the kind of scandal that usually ends careers, not starts them. The footage, involving singer Ray J, spread across tabloids and talk shows, igniting a cultural explosion. But instead of fading into humiliation, Kim did something no one expected. She turned infamy into influence. At the time, she was best known as Paris Hilton's friend, a socialite living in borrowed fame. Yet the leaked tape became a weapon, one she would wield to build an empire. Within months, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered, introducing the world to a new dynasty, glamorous, chaotic, and unapologetically self-aware. The scandal that should have destroyed her instead became the foundation of a billion-dollar brand. Over the next decade, Kim Kardashian would redefine what fame meant, transforming from a tabloid target into a fashion icon, business mogul, and cultural architect. But behind the flawless image lies a question that still lingers. Was Kim Kardashian a victim of exploitation, or the most brilliant media strategist of her generation? Kimberly Noel Kardashian was born on October 21, 1980, in Los Angeles, California, into a family that already understood the power of fame, legacy, and controversy. Her father, Robert Kardashian, was a high-profile attorney best known for defending O.J. Simpson during the infamous 1995 murder trial, a televised spectacle that made the Kardashian name part of America's living room vocabulary. Her mother, Kris Jenner, was the sharp, ambitious matriarch who would later become the driving force behind her daughter's rise to celebrity empire. Kim was the second of 4 children, Kourtney, Khloe, and Rob, and grew up surrounded by comfort, privilege, and ambition. But beneath the glossy Beverly Hills surface, there was always tension. Her parents divorced when she was 9, and Kris remarried Olympic gold medalist Caitlyn Jenner, then Bruce Jenner, blending 2 families into what would later become the world's most famous household. The Kardashian-Jenner name would eventually dominate headlines. But in Kim's youth, it was just a noisy, competitive home filled with oversized dreams. Unlike the rebellious personalities around her, Kim was quiet, observant, and calculated. She studied fashion, adored pop culture, and paid attention to how celebrity worked, how image could create power. Those early lessons from her father's fame and her mother's management instincts would later define her. Robert taught her about loyalty and legacy. Kris taught her about control. When Robert Kardashian died of cancer in 2003, Kim's world changed. Losing her father, the moral anchor of the family, left a void that Kris filled with relentless ambition. She pushed her daughters to seize opportunity, to turn visibility into business. Kim, ever strategic, absorbed every detail. She wasn't just watching the industry, she was preparing to master it. Long before the world called her the queen of reality TV, Kim Kardashian was already learning that in America, fame wasn't inherited, it was engineered. Kim attended Marymount High School, an elite all-girls Catholic institution in Los Angeles, a place where image, reputation, and connections mattered almost as much as grades. She wasn't the loudest or the smartest in her class, but she understood something few teenagers did: attention as currency. While others dreamed of college, Kim was quietly building the foundation of her brand, networking, observing, and learning the art of presentation. After graduation, she didn't follow a traditional path. Instead, she immersed herself in the heart of celebrity culture. She worked as a closet organizer and stylist for Los Angeles socialites, eventually becoming personal assistant and stylist to Paris Hilton, the reigning queen of tabloid fame in the early 2000s. Through Paris, Kim was introduced to the paparazzi circuit, red carpets, and the carefully constructed world of famous for being famous. But Kim wasn't content to be someone else's shadow. She studied how Paris navigated the media, the poses, the controversies, the headlines, and began shaping her own public persona. With her natural beauty, curvy figure, and quiet confidence, Kim stood out in an industry obsessed with thin perfection. She understood how to attract cameras without saying much, How to let speculation do the talking. In the early 2000s, Kim opened Dash, a boutique she co-founded with her sisters Kourtney and Khloe. It was more than a store, it was a statement of identity. Signaling the Kardashian name as a brand, slowly, she was transitioning from stylist to celebrity in her own right. Yet, fame still eluded her, until 2007, when her private life would explode into public view. The leaked tape with Ray J would ignite a scandal so massive it could have destroyed her. But Kim Kardashian wasn't just another victim of the tabloids. She was about to prove she understood the power of exposure better than anyone, by turning the most humiliating moment of her life into the start of a global empire. When the infamous tape with Ray J surfaced in early 2007, the world expected Kim Kardashian to vanish under the weight of humiliation. Instead, she did the opposite, she capitalized. With her mother Kris Jenner's guidance, Kim filed a lawsuit, reached a settlement, and within weeks, signed a reality TV deal with the E! Network. The result was Keeping Up with the Kardashians, a show that turned private chaos into primetime entertainment. The timing was uncanny. The world was entering the age of digital celebrity, where attention itself was a new kind of power. Kim didn't just survive the scandal, she monetized it. Her family's reality show, debuting in October 2007, introduced the Kardashians and Jenners to millions of households. Cameras followed their relationships, arguments, and lavish lifestyles, blurring the line between authenticity and performance. Critics mocked it as shallow. Viewers couldn't look away. Kim quickly emerged as the show's centerpiece, poised, fashionable, and enigmatic. While her sisters played out drama, Kim mastered restraint. She wasn't the loudest Kardashian, she was the most strategic. Every appearance, outfit, and Instagram post became part of a carefully curated narrative, redemption through visibility. Within a few years, she was no longer the girl from the tape. She was a brand and an empire. She launched fragrance lines, clothing collections, beauty products, and mobile apps. Her image, once tabloid fodder, became aspirational. She turned her own body into a symbol of empowerment and controversy, challenging Hollywood's narrow beauty ideals while simultaneously redefining what it meant to be famous. By the early 2010s, Kim Kardashian was no longer chasing the spotlight, she was controlling it. Collaborations with fashion houses like Balmain, Vogue covers, and global endorsement deals positioned her as a modern Marilyn Monroe, sensual, polarizing, and inescapable. Critics called her the architect of post-reality fame. Fans called her iconic. And then, in 2014, she married Kanye West, a union that merged two of the most powerful celebrity forces of their time. The wedding in Florence was extravagant, cinematic, and symbolic. The reality star and the rap genius, sealing fame's ultimate merger. Together, they became pop culture royalty, admired, analyzed, and endlessly dissected. But behind the empire's perfection, cracks were forming. The same media that built Kim could also turn on her. The scandal that made her famous had given her everything, but it would also follow her forever. A shadow she could never fully escape. Kim Kardashian's love life has always been a mirror reflecting her rise, each relationship more public, more analyzed, more cinematic than the last. In the early years, she dated athletes and entertainers, her romances feeding the same tabloids that made her a star. But none would shape her image like her marriages, each one marking a new chapter in the mythology of Kim Kardashian. Her first marriage came at just 19, to music producer Damon Thomas, a relationship she later described as controlling and unhappy. It ended quietly, long before fame found her. The second was anything but quiet. In 2011, Kim married NBA player Kris Humphries in a wedding televised to millions. The ceremony was spectacular, the ratings enormous, and the marriage famously short-lived, just 72 days. Critics accused her of staging it for publicity. Kim called it a mistake made under pressure. Either way, the scandal only intensified her spotlight. Then came Kanye West. Their worlds collided years before they married. But it wasn't until 2012 that they became inseparable. Kanye often said he fell in love with Kim the moment he saw a photo of her, and when they finally got together. It felt like destiny written in lights. Their 2014 wedding in Florence was a global event, covered by Vogue and celebrated as a union of fame and art. Together, they became the power couple of a generation, she, the queen of media, he, the king of music and fashion. For several years, they seemed untouchable. They built an empire together, 4 children, multiple businesses, billion-dollar brands, and countless viral moments. Kim became more polished, more confident, more respected. Under Kanye's influence, she transformed her fashion, her branding, even her tone, evolving from reality star to cultural icon. But as Kanye's public struggles with mental health and political controversy escalated, their relationship strained under global scrutiny. Kim stood by him longer than anyone else, defending him through outbursts and breakdowns. But by 2021, the marriage unraveled. Their divorce was both heartbreaking and inevitable, a collision of love, ego, and exhaustion. Despite the chaos, Kim spoke of Kanye with empathy, calling him the father of my children and the man who taught me so much. Their story wasn't just romance, it was the intersection of 2 empires. A love built on ambition and undone by fame. For Kim Kardashian, every relationship had been public, but this one had defined her legacy. She entered it as a reality star and left it as a global phenomenon. Every empire has its reckoning, and for Kim Kardashian, it came not from one scandal, but a storm of them. Fame had made her untouchable, yet it also made her a target. By the mid-2010s, Kim was no longer just a celebrity, she was a symbol of a new kind of fame, built on exposure, perfected through control, and constantly walking the line between empowerment and exploitation. The ghost of her 2007 tape never fully disappeared. Even as she built a billion-dollar brand, people still whispered that it was her ticket to stardom. Kim rarely addressed it, but when she did, she was candid, acknowledging how that moment had shaped her destiny. For better or worse, that tape was meant to humiliate me, she once said, but I turned it into my power. Still, every time a new controversy arose, the internet resurrected that past. It was a reminder that the world loved to watch her rise, but even more, loved to question if she deserved it. Then came October 2016, the night of the Paris robbery. While attending Fashion Week, Kim was held at gunpoint in her private residence, bound, gagged, and robbed of millions in jewelry. For a woman whose life had been broadcast to the world, the incident was the dark inversion of her fame. The cameras were gone, the glamour stripped away, only fear remained. In the aftermath, Kim withdrew from public life for months. When she returned, she was changed, quieter, more guarded, and painfully aware of the price of visibility. But the public never stopped watching. Her every move, her body, her marriages, her business ventures was dissected online. Critics accused her of cultural appropriation, of promoting unrealistic beauty standards, of commodifying feminism. Each backlash was followed by a reinvention. Kim learned to own the narrative, apologizing when needed, pivoting when useful, turning outrage into opportunity. In 2022, during an interview meant to inspire young women, she said, "Get your F***ing ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days." The internet erupted. Millions accused her of hypocrisy, pointing out her privileged start. Yet again, Kim stood at the eye of a media storm. Both admired and despised, she had become the embodiment of the modern paradox, a woman celebrated for breaking boundaries, and condemned for how she did it. Her personal life continued to blur with her public image. After her divorce from Kanye West, Kim's every date, post, and statement made headlines. Even her attempts at normalcy became spectacles. She was no longer just living her life, she was performing survival. And through it all, one truth remained. Kim Kardashian had turned scandal into empire. But the empire demanded constant sacrifice. Every reinvention required a shedding of skin. Every headline a piece of herself. The fame she once controlled now controlled her. Still, she endured, not by escaping the spotlight, but by learning how to live inside it. In the aftermath of countless controversies, something remarkable happened. Kim Kardashian refused to collapse. Instead, she evolved. What began as survival turned into transformation. By the late 2010s, the woman once dismissed as a reality TV star had rebuilt herself into a global entrepreneur, activist, and billionaire. After the Paris robbery, Kim's priorities shifted. She became more private, more deliberate. The woman who once posted every moment now chose her words and images carefully. Her new focus was family, business, and purpose. She launched KKW Beauty and Skims, brands that reflected not only her image but her vision, inclusivity, diversity, and body confidence. What others saw as vanity, Kim turned into strategy. Within a few years, both brands were valued at over $1 billion, solidifying her place among the most powerful women in business. But Kim's comeback wasn't just financial, it was moral. In 2018, she began advocating for criminal justice reform. Inspired by the story of Alice Marie Johnson, a grandmother serving a life sentence for a nonviolent offense, Kim personally met with President Donald Trump at the White House, successfully lobbying for Johnson's release. The move shocked critics who had underestimated her depth. For the first time, the world began to see Kim Kardashian not just as a celebrity, but as an influencer of real-world change. Her image matured, less scandal, more substance. She enrolled in a law apprenticeship, following in her late father's footsteps, and spoke openly about wanting to use her fame for impact. This wasn't reinvention for attention, it was evolution for survival. Kim understood that in a culture that thrives on reinvention, growth itself becomes the ultimate power move. Even her relationship with Kanye West, now publicly turbulent, revealed her resilience. As he descended into controversy, Kim maintained grace, never retaliating, never collapsing into chaos. She became the calm center of the Kardashian universe, the stabilizing force that kept the family empire alive. By 2023, Kim Kardashian had transcended the very machine that once exploited her. She had turned notoriety into legacy, controversy into conversation, scandal into strength. But in Hollywood, redemption is never permanent. For Kim, every victory comes with a price, and every comeback carries the haunting question: how much of yourself must you lose to stay on top? Today, Kim Kardashian stands as both a survivor and an architect of modern fame, a woman who transformed humiliation into influence, criticism into capital, and scandal into empire. With an estimated net worth in the billions, global recognition that transcends generations, and businesses that shape fashion and culture, she is no longer simply a reality star, she is a system. Her brand, Skims, has become a global phenomenon, worn by athletes, models, and even political figures. She has evolved into a symbol of control, someone who turns vulnerability into market value. Yet, even as her achievements multiply, so do the questions that surround her. Can authenticity coexist with constant curation? Has she mastered fame, or has fame mastered her? Publicly, Kim presents balance, a devoted mother of four, a student of law, a philanthropist, but the world she helped create, one of filters, algorithms, and infinite exposure, now consumes others the way it once consumed her. Every influencer, every reality star, every viral sensation is a shadow of the blueprint she wrote. Still, there is a loneliness in her success. The higher she climbs, the more her image becomes untouchable, her humanity distant, like Marilyn Monroe decades before her. Kim embodies the paradox of celebrity, adored, envied, and endlessly misunderstood. And so, her story remains unfinished. From scandal to stardom, from ridicule to respect, Kim Kardashian's life is the ultimate modern myth, a tale of power, reinvention, and survival in a world that never stops watching. But one question lingers in every headline, every photo, every post. Did Kim Kardashian create the world of fame, or did she simply learn how to rule it better than anyone else?